My name is Harley. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm also the president of Shopify.
Oh, okay.
And most importantly, I'm a long-term friend of Kurt Elster's, and we've known each other now for almost a decade, I think, right?
Yeah.
Must be a decade.
10 years.
10 years.
Someone was just asking me.
I think 10 years.
10 years.
And it's been a lot of ups and mostly ups, maybe some downs.
10 years it happens.
Yeah, sometimes. Every now and then we put out something you're like, I don't really like it, and you give us some good feedback, and we make some changes, but that's what a real ecosystem is.
Well, I've been around long, I don't think about it.
That's cool.
Which is a little insane.
Well, I mean, I say this with all due respect, but you're sort of like, when I see you here, I'm like, oh yeah, of course, like Kurt's here, obviously. Like it's not a surprise to me. Whereas, I just saw Daniel Patricio, who used to work at Shopify, who's an app developer now, an amazing app developer, I should say. It's so nice to see him. It's like a nice surprise. But you're like fucking furniture.
I'm a fixture.
You're a fixture here. Like you're always around, which is amazing. So yeah.
All right, so we're at Shopify Editions. I can't help
Editions.dev.
Editions.dev, sorry.
Editions is our release that happened yesterday. .dev is the event.
And at the .dev event, I can't help but compare it to Unite. I got Unite vibes. Is this the new Unite?
It's not. It's different than Unite. Partially, it's different for a few reasons. Number one, Unite was focused on all types of partners, agencies, SIs, app developers. This is really focused on developers, people that are building on top of the Shopify code base, on top of our APIs, on top of our SDKs. And you sort of do feel a little bit of a different sense of like I'm sure there are some agencies and other freelancers that have showed up as well. But generally, the crowd here is very technical. And even in terms of, we have some merchants here that sort of snuck in, as you probably can tell. But
it happened at Unite too.
And it did happen, that's right. But they're very technical merchants that are really, going deeply into like the Shopify tech docs and like trying to figure out like, hey, there's this one thing under a beta flag, I want to explore that a little bit more. But yeah, it's a little bit different.
What's the big hot feature, the one you're proud of?
I think, so we released our summer edition yesterday. There's some really cool stuff that we're bringing. Analytics is one. Analytics is just going to work much better. I think it was always good. I think now it's getting much better. I think there's a bunch of cool stuff happening right now on markets. It's probably the one that's getting the most attention. Just the ability to select different pricing, different SKUs, to really I've been talking about Shopify being a retail operating system for a long time, but this idea that B2B is a market, and the US can be a market, and Canada, can be a market for wholesale. And then you can do different products in different places, different pricing depending on the market. I think that's just going to make, we've been talking about default global for a while. I think that really advances it. But actually, I think the theme of this edition is even more important than the specific features. This idea of bringing it all together, having a unified product where every feature that we added 150 features this edition, about 100 features in the winter edition. The fact that every feature feels like it was always there, that I think is really important. So the theme is unified, and I think that speaks to how we want people to think about our product.
So the double-edged sword of shipping all these features is it's remarkable, and we all want our toys,
yep.
Right?
There's a but coming, I feel like.
The but is then you're making your life much harder in making the interface consistent and easy to use. Is fixing that the theme?
I mean, certainly making it feel, so let me take a step back. Truly elegant, delightful software has a lot of, it's like a beautiful watch where on its face it just tells the time. But underneath the face, there's all these really fancy complications. And I think Shopify, we endeavor for it to work like that, where it's simple to use, it's easy to get started, but as you grow and as your business needs expand, the complexity sort of reveals itself over time, but at the right time. So that if you're sitting at your mom's kitchen table right now and building a store on Shopify, it feels super easy and elegant. But if you're, some big merchant doing a couple $1 billion a year, and you have wholesale and retail and wholesale and direct-to-consumer online, you're cross-selling on Target or you're cross-selling on Instagram, it all feels like this well-oiled machine. And a major challenge is as you add more stuff, how do you make it so that the admin still feels elegant and easy to use, easy to navigate? And making this sort of unified thing a priority, I think, will make all that easier. But that is a major challenge. It's the reason why most companies either become way too complex and frankly, they make their admin, their dashboard look like, a NASCAR, car with all those different decals everywhere. It's confusing. You're not really sure who's sponsoring the car. Or they hit a particular ceiling in terms of complexity, and beyond that size, it just doesn't work. We think we can do both. I mean, I have a store on the side, as you know. I have Firebelly Tea with my best buddy, my little side hustle at Shopify, and we use markets. It's amazing. It allows us to do things that I always like to think about the metaphor of like a browser with a bunch of tabs opened, and you have like 9 different tabs. You have like one tab is like your admin, one tab is like your point of sale admin, one tab is like your Instagram admin. This idea of collapsing tabs into one single admin, which is Shopify, the amount of cognitive load that gets decreased or downshifted by doing something like that is immense. And I think that our job is to make it so that the millions of merchants that use Shopify, they feel like they can focus on growing their business, making beautiful products, not managing the admin. Like that should be sort of something that sort of comes for free and it's easy because you want to focus on building whatever products you're building.
This evening, let's give people some FOMO. What do you have in store
for us? It's going to be amazing. So we're going to the port. It's the after party. And we're going to the Shopify port, which is our space here in Toronto. We're opening up all the floors. Every floor will have different cool stuff. It's going to be great food and great party, but also like super thoughtful stuff. So actually, you'll see tonight. I'm not going to give anything away, but it's really cool. We've been planning this for a while, and it's fun to get together with everyone. And there's a lot of hugs and a lot of selfies as you're seeing here, which is amazing. I think people are asking to have more selfies with you than with me, which is
please
shows your
that was the first thing I did.
Your dominance here in this community, Kurt.
As soon as I saw you, I was like, give me a selfie.
Yeah, but I will say this. This is also tonight and today is our way to say thank you to the community. Shopify would never, ever, ever be what it is today if it wasn't for you and others like you. And shout out to the Unofficial Shopify podcast. It's freaking awesome. I've been on it, I think, once or twice, maybe.
You've been on it?
Yeah. Maybe time to come back on.
Happy to have you.
And what's your license plate, by the way?
I famously had the Shopify license plate.
Famously, yes. You were the first person on the planet to have a Shopify license plate.
What's funny is like the number of Shopify license plate I've seen pop up since then.
I live in Montreal right now. I was at the Grand Prix with my wife. We were walking around. I do not have the Shopify license plate. We walk around and see a car with Shopify license plate. My wife's like, whose car is that? Turns out, Shopify Merchant. It was amazing. I love that Shopify Merchant has the Shopify license plate in Quebec, and I don't.
And
cool.
It only happened a couple times, but somebody would pull up next to me, really excited, like roll a window, and I roll it down, and they go, "What's your store?"
All right. Well, thanks for having me on.